Russian President Vladimir Putin marked Victory Day at Moscow's Red Square on May 9 with a defiant speech declaring victory has always been ours and will always be, as Russia commemorated the 81st anniversary of Nazi Germany's surrender. The Kremlin scaled down the parade, citing security threats while warning of retaliation if celebrations were disrupted. Putin, in his speech, also accused the globalist wing of Western elite of provoking the war in Ukraine, saying they used Kiev as a proxy and blocked peace talks in 2022. He pointed to NATO's eastward expansion as proof of broken promises. Russia launched its offensive in February 2022 after recognizing Donetsk and Lugansk, demanding Ukraine remain neutral. Kiev denounced the move as an invasion, imposed martial law, and mobilized forces while the US and EU imposed sweeping sanctions. Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced what he calls a serious and very significant step forward in oil and gas cooperation with China. Speaking at the Kremlin, he said the two countries are largely in agreement on expanding energy ties, including nuclear and space sectors, and that finer details could be signed during an upcoming visit. Putin also welcomed dialogue between Beijing and Washington, stressing that stability between the US and China benefits the global economy. The announcement followed Russia's Victory Day celebrations, marking the 81st anniversary of Nazi Germany's surrender. Opposition parties staged a major rally on Saturday in Lomé against constitutional reforms, accusing Prime Minister Ford Nassingbe of consolidating his power. Hundreds dressed in the symbolic orange of the National Alliance for Change gathered at the Akasime grounds, where party leader Jean-Pierre Fabre addressed the crowd. Demonstrators criticized the Nassingbe family's decades-long rule, saying it threatens the nation's future. The rally highlighted growing unity among four opposition parties and civil society groups now aligned under the National Consultation Framework for Change. Leaders urged an end to divisions and called for a national debate on the constitution adopted in 2024. Togo's political system shifted from presidential to parliamentary under that constitution, with Nassingbe moving from president to prime minister. French President Emmanuel Macron has declared that France no longer considers Africa its backyard during a joint press conference with Kenyan President William Ruto in Paris on Sunday. The two leaders announced 11 bilateral agreements worth hundreds of millions of dollars, including an €83 million rehabilitation of Nairobi's commuter rail and an $800 million joint venture to develop logistics and port infrastructure. A deal to promote Kenyan specialties in French retail networks was also signed. Macron defended France's new approach, stressing sovereignty and territorial integrity while acknowledging strained ties after military coups in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. Ruto welcomed the shift, calling it the recalibration Africa needs. France has lost influence in parts of West Africa, while Kenya has deepened ties with Western partners, positioning itself as a regional hub for security and economic growth. The 9th Rabat International Marathon lit up Morocco's capital on Sunday, with Ethiopian runners dominating the competition and breaking records. Footage showed thousands of participants setting off, racing through the city, and celebrating at the finish line. Ethiopia's Boki Deriba won the men's marathon, setting a new record of 2 hours, 7 minutes and 52 seconds, surpassing the previous mark held by Kenya's Sami Kigen. In the women's race, Meseret Abiba Yaihu claimed victory with a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes and 3 seconds. Organizers reported a record turnout of up to 7,000 runners across the marathon and half-marathon events. The race, held under the patronage of King Mohammed VI, continues to grow as one of North Africa's premier sporting events. Hundreds gathered at Berlin's Soviet War Memorial in Tiergarten on Saturday to commemorate the 81st anniversary of the Allied victory over Nazi Germany. The Immortal Regiment march saw participants carrying photos of relatives who fought in the war alongside flowers laid in remembrance. Members of the Russian diaspora and representatives from CIS embassies joined the ceremony, with the Russian ambassador also present. Speakers urged peace and unity, stressing that the sacrifices of past generations must not be in vain. Victory Day is observed on May 9 in Russia and other former Soviet states, while Western nations mark it on May 8. Berlin police imposed restrictions on Russian and Soviet symbols at the memorials this year, citing tensions linked to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Brazzaville marked the 81st anniversary of Victory Day with the opening of a memorial exhibition titled World War II, The War That Changed the World, organized by the Globus International Association and the League of Russian University Graduates. The event drew officials from the Republic of the Congo, the Russian Embassy, and youth organizations. The exhibition featured three sections: the outbreak of the war, the scale of human losses and key battles, and lessons for future peace. Cultural activities included an army field kitchen, children's chalk drawings for peace, and the solemn candles of memory ceremony. Russian diplomat Sofia Sitnikova praised Congo's role in preserving historical memory, while organizers emphasized May 9 as a global symbol of unity and courage. Russian President Vladimir Putin has pledged deeper cooperation with Republika Srpska, meeting its leader Sinisa Karan in Moscow after Victory Day commemorations. Putin said relations are rooted in centuries-old traditions of friendship and spiritual closeness, and vowed to expand political, economic, cultural, and humanitarian ties. Karan echoed the sentiment, calling Russia his country's most important strategic partner and stressing shared history and brotherhood. The meeting coincided with Russia's 81st Victory Day, marking Nazi Germany's surrender in 1945. Meanwhile, on Friday, US President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine from May 9 to 11, including a prisoner exchange of 1,000 on each side, a move backed by both Moscow and Kiev. Spain's Health Minister Mónica Garcia confirmed on Monday in Tenerife that the maritime phase of the MV Hondius health operation is nearly complete, with just 54 people still aboard as the vessel prepares to sail for the Netherlands. Garcia said 22 passengers will disembark, while 32 remain on board for departure, after which disinfection work at the port will begin under strict epidemiological protocols. She stressed Spain's close coordination with the WHO, the ECDC, and other health agencies. The cruise ship had been kept under controlled isolation near Granadilla following reports of symptomatic passengers and positive PCR tests. Around 150 travelers from 23 countries were evacuated in stages for screening and repatriation. The outbreak was traced back to the ship's South America itinerary, with the WHO confirming 8 linked cases and 3 deaths. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appealed to citizens to cut fuel use, avoid foreign holidays, and even curb gold purchases for the next year, warning that the Middle East conflict is straining the economy and disrupting global energy supplies. Speaking at a BJP event in Telangana, Modi said rising prices of petrol, diesel, gas and fertilizer have crossed the sky, leaving India vulnerable due to its reliance on imports. He urged carpooling, greater use of metro and rail, and revival of remote working to conserve fuel. Modi also called on families to postpone buying gold jewelry and reconsider destination weddings abroad, stressing that preserving foreign currency reserves is vital. His appeal comes as global crude prices surge amid disruptions around the Strait of Hormuz following US and Israeli strikes on Iran.